So we'll just go ahead and start this over, right? It's only, thankfully, it was only like 2-ish minutes that people didn't hear me, so we'll get this going. The first thing just wanted to cover, was Tesla. I did also say too that I know maybe we'll probably run his normal review session on Sunday, and I'm sure he'll cover some other days of the market. We can cover like what happened on Friday. I know Han's going to cover some stuff. Robbie with some, we'll talk about some consistency trading. So I'll be quick and brief on Tesla. What I covered on Tesla was that and we can go out, we'll zoom out to the daily. Oh, gosh. And we'll go to a clear drawing set. Apparently there is no clear drawing set. Wow. That worked out pretty well. Here's what I wanted to cover though, right? Is that if you look at, and we can turn this off. If you look at, here's Monday, right? Hammer candle off the 9, kind of showing some buyer exhaustion. Tuesdays, and so, nope, I'm sorry. This is Tuesday. Tuesday's the hammer candle. Wednesday's inside of Tuesday. Thursday's inside of Wednesday. So Friday we get the directional break lower, right? So double inside day, as they would call it. Because if you look at the high here, and the high here is just slightly lower, like it's super close. They couldn't take out either side on Wednesday, and then Thursday was more consolidation. So getting back to that 10-minute chart, what we have obviously is you have the pre-market low break. Here's your pre-market low. It does kind of chop a little bit under the previous day low and pre-market low, but finally, when you get that orb low break, you get a really nice base here, right? So any of the demand that was over here gets absorbed. So the buyers turn into sellers. You have your 10-minute 9 interaction following orb low, so that's an orb low breaking base on the 10. If you look at the 5, it's a pullback into the 5-minute 20. The 5-minute gives you another perspective and a kind of a cleaner look, right? Because even though the CBC is long on the 5, you get kind of this like double hammer candle look here, and you're just seeing that the buyers aren't really that strong. And realistically, on this 5-minute candle, why did the buyers, kind of let themselves get pushed all the way down here just to close right on the EMA? So, when we break into the EMAs and then we start to consolidate within them, and we're not seeing force to drive through, it is usually a good sign that the trend is going to continue and it's going to remain intact. On the 10, it was really clean as well with the orb low breaking base, 10-minute 9 EMA, and the CBC flips, right? But the CBC flips into the into the EMAs, right? And the same thing happens here. CBC does flip long, but ultimately it actually closes a little bit lower here. And that's the same thing that happened here. Flips long, then closes down a little bit lower, and then it gives it back up. Only like this one, you see the difference, right? CBC flips long, it actually closes a little bit higher, not above the wick, but they can't flip it back short, and then you finally get some more follow through. I mean, this isn't really that great. This is, probably like a B- trade if you want to try the long here. I'm sure, especially on 0 days, if you got this one right, this move here of like $2, probably paid you pretty quickly on the IV spike, but nothing too serious, and you want to be careful with that on a Friday. But long story short, just covering Tesla and that the orb low break-in base was a really fantastic trade here. You had so many confluences to go short with the EMAs, with VWAP, with orb, with under pre-market low, with under the previous 3 days lows. It was just a short trade on all time frames. There was no reason to long whatsoever. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's start with, we'll switch it up. We'll start with ES, right? So again, shout out to Han. Appreciate him being on voice with me on Friday because Maple took the day off. It's always good to have an extra person in there. ES was, a little difficult, I think, at first. But one thing that I repeatedly said on the stream, throughout the first half hour, maybe a little bit more than until we finally broke down, was that CBC is still short. I just kept saying CBC is short, CBC is short. And they were repeatedly trying to defend the opening print, and then once they lost it, like it was game over. You got a nice orb low break in base. I know we haven't seen one of those in a little while, but this was pretty crazy, and this is why Maple talks about, you know, letting the candle flip, you know, and actually let the candle close. Had the candle closed up in here, reclaiming the orb, and closed near the highs, would have been great, but it wasn't like that at all. If we zoom in closer to the 2 minute, this was, I think I remember talking about this on stream, right? Is that this is 11:06 when this candle closes. By 11:08 we're here, and then look, the candle closed like all the way down here. So I'm just gonna make it easier to see them both side by side. So here's ES on the 2. And this is what I'm talking about. This candle right here. So there's the end of that 11. It would be the 11:10 candle. So it was looking real strong for a while. But if you had like some bullish FOMO, you're pushing right into the orb. You close above it, but then instantly close that back down below it. Then can't reclaim it and close above it. You know, it was a very easy short, risking this candle's high, right? So you can get in on the orb at 81.5. Oh my god. That's my daughter, sorry, with her well-timed entrance. But I was saying, you know, you would, I mean, it'd be about the 2.5 point risk. But the reward there was, what, 15 points to this low? So, I mean, pretty, even if you got 10, it'd be, what, 4-1? 10 and 12 would be 4-1. So that was a pretty solid trade there. I don't think we've been talking much about the orb lately, especially with being on NQ. It seems to be a lot of, you know, CBC, like, you know, the 10 and 2, and also the bill breaker, right? But the orb is still a viable strat. And the biggest thing coming off the open was who was in control of the 10-minute CBC. And even with this big push, the buyers got stuffed, right? Same thing. 940 candle, big push, and then it flips. It's like right back down. And this is the opening print right here. They were really trying. And I remember being on stream talking about this with both ES and NQ. Opening print, lower high. Basically the opening print, lower high. Basically the opening print, lower high. Like the bullish candles are getting lower and lower, and then now you're at, you know, this is the mid orb too, so it's just starting to fade, right? And then there was one other up. Here was another good one too. So you had, and this is one I want to spend some more time back testing. But you had this here, then you had a nice big bullish candle, and then it just fizzled. Right, so CBC flips. It's a ways away from the EMAs. Likely an indication that we're going to see more pullback or a deeper pullback. You know, with the 2-minute EMAs starting to flip here, you have a decent long idea. But since you're still under the higher time frames, I would probably say that that's a lower grade idea versus like an A++ setup like that orb low short that we had on Tesla. And like this being an orb low short with the EMA confluence. But it comes up and then, you know, same thing. Hits a resistance of the 10-minute 20 and it flips down pretty damn hard. Han, before I move on to NQ, did you have anything to add with like what you saw with your levels on ES at all?
Senor Han.
Hmm?
Hola, Han. Senor. I'll just hop in for a sec.
Go for it, bro.
That push up into the orb around just before 11, being the trend fighter that I am, and especially because it closed higher than the last pivot at 10:30ish. Or the one right up there. I think that first candle pullback into the EMAs could have been a decent long entry. Because at that point, obviously we don't know it's going lower, and I do realize that the orbs are there, so it's definitely riskier. But given the size of that candle, I I take that a lot. That setup.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that it's like, you know, obviously we're hindsight geniuses now and would say like don't take that. That's not the better trade to take. But that's where I was talking about like maybe needing to do a little more back testing on it personally. But yeah, you know, it does hold over, you know, it tests the 20 EMA, you know, and anything entering long around this 20 EMA is great. And this is still, let's just say you get in a 79, you get 3 points. So
yeah, so like, but certainly by the third candle, it's like, okay, yeah, it's not working out anymore because
yeah,
they didn't keep it closed over.
I think it's important to call out that you recognize this is a counter trend trade when you're looking at the higher time frames, and that
Yeah,
and that at this point, like this entry, you know, when you see that okay, it's been a few minutes and we're not breaking highs, you know, you want to move that trail stop up to at least break even to protect yourself from this flush. But you still got to be thinking: is the main trend, is the higher time frame trend intact? I'm sure too, you know, like looking at this move, you know, it was a pretty strong reaction. At least there was some reaction here at 10:44 on this 2-minute candle when it peaks under previous day low and it looks like a fake out breakout. You know, if you're eyeing that trade, and I'll get to that on NQ, but if you're eyeing that trade, you got to be really quick with it and then just like slap it, risking the low. Like once you see it starting to get bought up, well, we only went under one tick. Like you've got to just be ready and just go for it, risking the low. And then maybe at that point you're only risking a point and a half, because like yeah, from there, you know, you do get 12 points if you held on to it, a little more than. But it comes right back down, and I wouldn't like when it comes right back down. I wouldn't take it on the second attempt, and I'll say that on NQ.
yeah,
But here, I mean, pre-market low, inverted hammer here, pre-market low, a big inverted hammer signifies that there's going to be some pullback, and there was. And I know I spent a lot more time watching NQ, so like, oops, gold. Sorry, let's flip to that. So,
sorry, Joe, I didn't know you were asking something for me.
oh no, it's okay. I just said with ES, did you have anything that you wanted to call out in addition to what I said, or with levels or anything, or the footprint chart?
I'm in regards to ES. I know we talked about me saying that if anybody was interested, ES yesterday was the perfect perfect example of how to use order flow with zones that you are interested in trading. Now, I don't know, you know, everybody has their own way to get zones. But you know, the cake zones are just consolidation, prior points of consolidation, up or down, it doesn't matter. That's all they are. And so it was textbook, and I don't want to say this because every time I do, I fucking blow up the next trading day. It couldn't have been easier to trade ES yesterday based upon order flow and consolidation zones. I've never seen it this easy. So it's it definitely solidified my thought of going back to ES and dropping NQ. So if you'd like me to go over that for a little bit, I don't know if anybody's interested in order flow and all that kind of stuff, because you can still use it with all the other strats. It's just another level of confluence.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess if anybody's interested, just tag him, and then you could always do something.
Yeah, it was like I was saying, every cake zone was just as soon as it got in it, it completed an auction with a great print for a long, and it was like slap market in, and it just goes. So I can get some stuff ready to show really quick while you move on, or I don't know if
Yeah.
I can share my screen in this situation, so I don't have to keep like saving screenshots and shit and posting them.
I think you can share your screen, but are you ready to go now? You want me to go to NQ first?
You just go over your NQ stuff first, and I'll get this ready.
Perfect. Okay. So NQ, right? NQ, similar look like the Tesla, right, where we were just pushing up in the morning. You know, pre-market CBC flip short. Here's the close. I know I have a lot of drawings like on this set. We can remove this so you can see a little bit cleaner look on the 2 minute here. So this was just like the gap down, right? So we gapped down slightly, filled it almost immediately. I grabbed this long off of the defense of the opening print here. Like I just saw kind of how ES was moving around the same time frame at 9:36. So same thing, like, you know, was trying to reclaim it. It's been something I've been looking at and watching for a bit in both directions. But the opening print being strong, feeling like it failed, they pushed back up. Now anybody who was a seller is a stuck buyer wanting to get out. And it was a super bullish reaction. It took off much faster than I expected. I trailed the stop like really tight. And I think I only grabbed like 40 or 45 points here. But this is where it's like really deceiving. Yeah, because this is a 112 point move from like that low to the high. And I think, you know, I was in a little bit late and still grabbed, I don't know, 40 or 45, whatever it was. I was on stream calling it out. And then just kind of sat through calling out the same thing, that they're defending the opening print, but the highs are getting lower. They're defending the opening print, but now they're peaking a little bit lower. And now they got a little bit lower high here, a little bit lower low, a little bit lower high. So, you know, it was pretty volatile off of the open, and I really kept trying to stress, you know, just kind of like sitting and waiting. You can wait for clear direction. And I want to reiterate that for somebody who wasn't watching the stream on Friday, that a big part of our job is to not click buttons, right? And when we click buttons as part of the job to make money in trading, the bigger part is when not to click them. And if we just remove all studies, right, and you can just clearly see the price action as it was, right, and just think about this in terms of, you know, a line chart, right, on the 2 minute. So we go here, we try to put in a higher low, we get this higher high maybe over these pivots or whatever, but then what do? We break that back down, we break this low. And then we go here, try to the higher low again, but then these sellers defend and you get a lower high. So from like, you know, whether you call it internal structure or whatever, but just from a market structure standpoint, we moved down, we did make a lower low, we pushed up, which this is setting up to be a lower high, trying to hold a higher low, and then boom, we make another lower high. We crack a lower low, lower high, we crack a lower low, lower high, and we crack a super big lower low. So I know that there was, you know, a trader who, you know, discussed it in the chat. Like I was repeatedly calling out, CBC is still short, 10-minute CBC is still short. Like, I think when it broke, I literally said, like, big thank you to Maple for teaching us this, because the CBC is still short. Shouldn't have been trying the longs. If you're trying the longs, it's you know, with tight risk and you know, a tight stop in respect to here. And of course, you know, unfortunately, somebody took their stops off or whatever and added to a loser and ended up blowing a PA. So that's you know.
Well, you got to call me out like that.
I know it wasn't you. But you know, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate to see, right? And we don't ever really want to see that. So, but you know, from there, right, it breaks down. You get this pullback right up into VWAP. This was tough, right? I mean, you get selling right off of VWAP. I feel like it's every couple of weeks I have this like sort of maybe discussion, or I just shoot Robbie a message and I'm like, man, sometimes VWAP is useless. And I actually had done that earlier in the morning. I was talking about like right here, where on the 10-minute, and I'll just go to a clear set, make it easier for people to see. But you know, on the 10-minute, it pushes up to the London Orb high. It comes back down. It just knifes through VWAP, but the EMAs are really what was like kind of catching it, and also just the price pivot, right? Like here's your 10-minute pivot. It just pivot high, higher low, kind of, you know, trying to set up. Here's higher low, breaks up, now another higher low sitting on this one. It was a lot cleaner. VWAP didn't do anything for you there. And maybe it's just a like Robbie called out, maybe it's a pre-market thing and you don't want to have to worry about that in terms of you know, because there's less price action there, so just leave it be. But I don't want this. Okay, and then so the VWAP rejection was really hard. Again, another candle that you know, 11:04. So 11:06 when this candle closes, you're more than halfway into the 10-minute candle. It looks really strong, but it's sitting on VWAP. The candle hasn't closed. There is no long trade there. You like don't try to go long breaking out of VWAP. It is a very, very bad idea, right? And we don't go long. Like, we just don't do that. And we just, if it was inverse, we wouldn't be, oops, negative NQ. God, Joe, learn how to type. You wouldn't take that short. By the way, if you don't know that, we covered that as well on Friday. You can put a negative in front of it on TOS and it'll flip the chart upside down for you. So you would not be taking this as a short. And looking at this and the amount of bullish days that we've had, like, this is a bullish looking day. This looks good, right? This looks good. Even if you said, like, you would say, oh, if it dips towards the opening print area in VWAP, like, it's still a good long. Oh, look where we dipped to. Opening print, VWAP, 10-minute 20 EMA. So because we've had so many bullish days, everybody's brain's probably just like recency bias, bullish, bullish, bullish. Flip the chart upside down. It's the same damn thing. But now it's just all bearish. So this is a really, even before this candle comes out, it's still a bearish look, like you're under there. But this quick pullback, you know, it gets some people out. But what does it do? Any of the stuck bulls that are in here, they turn into sellers, and it just knifes down hard. Pulls back. If you don't catch any of this, it's fine. You get a nice gravy entry right here off the 2-minute 20, you know, or even it comes back up to the orb. So you could let it come up and then, you know, see this. Okay, what's it going to do? You let it come up. When it comes back down and it starts to flip into the short, then it's like, okay, well, like, you know, if bulls had control, this wouldn't be a thing. They wouldn't do that. And sometimes they do. But, you know, it's like you're reading the dialogue saying, nah, this isn't right. Like, it's still a bearish day. And it looks like maybe it's trying to double bottom. But this is all looking weak. And then why are we getting shoved back down like that? Why are we getting such swift rejection? And then also, because you didn't make a new low here. But if we just go from here to here. Oh, right in the golden zone of this pop down. Which was nice. Also, speaking of golden zones, I think it was this one. Yeah, this VWAP was like perfectly the 50% retracement as well from this high to this low at that time of day. So that was good. It knifes back down some more. I remember being on stream and I called this one out. I said, this looks really familiar. I've seen this before. This is not a long setup. And I just kept calling it out. Like, I've seen this before. This, where are we? Right here. This is not a long setup. This is not a long setup. I mean, I must have said it probably like 6 times. And it just comes back down. 2-minute 20. I understand if you take this long in through here. Like, it's fine. It is a trade that does work. And sometimes you'll just continue to get a big push. But, you know, if you got in, let's say you got in at 90. It's a little bit more than this wick. You waited for the wick down. You waited for it to close. Maybe you waited for this one to even turn green. You get it at 91. Let's say 92. No, it's a 20-point move. So it's a very solid trade, and we'll get into the solid trade base hits thing in a moment. But solid trade, but I did say it's not a long setup. Like, you can't be going long on these 2 candles. You have to wait for a bigger pullback. It gives you the bigger pullback. You could have taken it. Shout out if you did. Good job, right? Hopefully you locked in your profit, kept a break-even stop or slightly higher than, and you would have taken a quick stop, let it go, and then what happens, right? You just see how the buyers and sellers are interacting, right? Push up, pushes down, ultimately pushes down, weak push up, pushes down, weak push up, knifes. So, like this here is concerning. Why are we wicking above and we're getting shoved back down? And I don't like typically like draw fibs, but I would just look at it in terms of, okay, well, we made this move down and now we can't close a candle more than halfway back up. You know, after a while, you just kind of start to see that, like, oh, here, halfway is in this area. Why can't we close back above this bearish candle on the 2-minute? Because this is, you had a couple bearish candles, this one and then this one on the 2. And then it just knifes back down. And then, you know, it continues to go. right? You get some pullbacks. Looks like a big old W action here. Right here. Boom, boom. You get this bigger pullback. And then I know most people don't use the clouds. This is the higher time frame. You know, it's the 10-minute 50. Don't always get an interaction there, but it pulls back up into this 10-minute 50 EMA. And it taps it perfectly. It flips and it goes. So, but you can see the difference in terms of first pullback to the 10-minute 20, second pullback to the 10-minute 20, third pullback to the 10-minute 20, fails to make a new low. When CBC flips, you know, or it's just right around the bill, pushes up, and you actually do crack the higher high. Because this 10-minute 20, no higher high. No higher high. This is pretty close. I mean, it's just barely, but it fails almost on the next candle instantly, and then 10-minute flip short. Which, right here, like knifes down under these EMAs. No. Sorry, it's right here. And this is not bad either, right? 10-minute flips back short. Time is this candle? This is 14:20. So this 10-minute candle hasn't closed yet. The one that actually flips CBC, but you're way under the... You can take this if you wanted to. They're just starting to cross. Or you get the safer entry. Once the 10-minute CBC is flipped, it pulls back into the 2-minute 20 right here, which is your 10-minute 9. You guys should be able to see right where I'm talking about. Right here. Boom, right there. And so you get in anywhere between these, risking maybe above this here. You know, this is 02, 01. Let's say you risk 10, you're good. If you waited for the interaction and it starts back coming back down before you grab it, that's great too. 01, 02, shit, we'll just call it 00. And you're at 77, so you're getting 23 points in 4 minutes. $460 in 4 minutes. But you had to be patient. So patience really paid on Friday. GT, what's up, bro? I'm glad you made it. I know we were talking about you sleeping. Because you're West Coast, bro. I got up this morning at 4:55 a.m. So fantastic. My body would not let me sleep in. All right, Han, I'm going to kick it over to you. I think you should be able to just start sharing your stream, right?
That's grayed out for me. So I don't know if you have to stop sharing to let me share or what. Oh, yep, that did it.
Oh, that's weird. I've seen places that have multiple, but anyway, go ahead.
Huh. Let's see. I usually fuck this up, so let's see if I do it right. We looking good?
Yeah, got you.
Is TOS up?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Well, hello everybody. I don't know if people know that much about how I trade, but I've switched over to order flow stuff along with Maple's techniques as well. But I use order flow a lot, which is just watching what prints at every single tick. To take trades, I'm finding it almost impossible with NQ. But ES, it's very reliable, barring any news or any that kind of crap, just normal price action. Here is ES from Friday. And these yellow zones, I don't know if everybody knows, I call them cake zones. All they are is areas of prior consolidation. Where price hung out for a while and then it rocketed one way or the other. And then I just mark that. It's usually the body of a 1 hour candle. I could show that later on, but it's just consolidation. And then what happens when price comes back that area of consolidation? It might not be calling the high or low of the day, but it's going to give you a lot of times enough points for a really solid day. So anyways, so we're just going to concentrate on these yellow areas. And there's another one down here. It's this lower area. See if I just delete that green zone. You can see it down there. That's another area of prior consolidation.
What's the difference between your colors in your zones?
What's up?
What is the difference between the colors of your zones? Do you give one more preference?
Oh, the green is a standard demand zone
Oh, okay.
that we've all been. This is going to be the top wick of a 1 hour candle.
Okay.
So, yeah. I used to use bottom wicks, but I find those are getting blown through a lot. And so the top wick is where you're going to see, I think, the defense more often than not. And if that fails, then you have the cake zone right below it. But the lower wick of those 1 hour candles doesn't. It's just not very solid. Here, I'm going to throw up a picture in chat really quick of where that green zone is at, as opposed to where the yellow cake zone is at. It's this candle right there. And you could see, if you look left, you could see that red 1 hour candle where this cake zone was originally made from, and it was respected over all these days. And so I just kept it.
Okay.
And brought it over. And where that green circle is at, I looked at the order flow in there, and that big green 1 hour candle, it was a hard print. That means that they really still liked it in that cake zone. So I just brought it over. And if you see the lines that have dots in them, that means the smaller the dots, the more that zone's been used. And after it's been used 3 times, I delete it.
Okay,
So
cool.
this one will probably be deleted that I'm getting ready to show. This one from Friday down here, because it's been ran through 3 times. So anyways, so that's what the difference in color is. So for Friday, sorry, this is long-winded. For Friday, I as soon as we opened up using order flow alone, I slapped long, because here is what where is it at? It was, I saw this print right here, this 48/0, which is pretty good. And then it came over here and got bought up really quick. And 316 on the bid and 135 on the ask is still pretty damn good. And so I just slapped it long and wrote it up.
I'm not
that's
seeing
not
your
a great.
screen move anymore, hon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is it just me? Oh, I see it now. Sorry.
Oh, we're back on here.
Yeah.
We're back on the TOS screen.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Ah, man. So I can't click and drag another.
No, because unless you share your whole screen, you can't alternate between windows like that unless you manually do it through the thing.
Oh, well, I'm just dragging over something else from another window, another screen to this. You can't do that in this OBS stuff?
No, because what you're doing in Discord is you're sharing a specific window.
Ah, okay. Well, then
You either have to
Let's
share
see.
your whole screen and then you can do that. Otherwise, no.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a little challenged here. Okay, so we'll just make this simple then. We will go to this area right here. So we'll ignore that. When it started coming down here and it had this area of interest that I liked, I was watching the footprint chart. And the footprint chart is just showing you what prints at every tick. Tick by tick, and I have this set up to 10 minutes. So when you see this chart, it looks crazy, but it's just a 10-minute candle chart. That's all it is. And you're just seeing everything tick by tick. So let me do this, and then can I just switch screens? Yeah, let me do this,
You'll be
and
able to.
then a little cumbersome, but now we should be up here, right, on the footprint chart.
Yep.
So that area we were just looking at, where it dived down to the cake, this was the print right here. So what this means is that was 157 contracts were slapped on the bid, and nobody wanted to sell anymore down here. So I'm just using order flow to, like, when it comes to an area that I'm interested in, when I see something like this, that usually means there's strong buying, and then we're not going to come down anymore. And then these are the two prior 10-minute candles right here. While 4x0 is nothing and 8x0 is nothing, every one of these was getting bought back up. And then when I saw 157x0, I'm like, oh, okay, this is we got a little bit of a defense here. And I didn't get many. I just got 4 points or something out of this. I don't hold for very long. But if it was smart, they came back down here and they bought this one up. So this would have been,
Can you go
80.
back to that first one right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because oftentimes when we're talking about scaling and then the pivot breaks and stuff, not to be a dick for a tick or things like that, but specifically right there, that's a whole dollar psych 55.70, right? And there's no asks right there. The only asks are one tick above, and I just think that's interesting. So it's like we should keep that in mind in our own trading when we're trying to figure out where to scale. It's not obviously sometimes you will get the break, but sometimes it's best to just be a little bit conservative and get out potentially before everybody else starts piling in or whatever.
Yeah, and we're below VWAP. We're fighting against all this stuff as well. Counter trend trading. It's all that crap. We're below opening range low. Most of the time, that's not going to reverse and give us low a day.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, it's not a stronghold. So you get a few points on ES out of it. You're doing pretty good for a trade. And let's see here. Now another one. First we'll go to here, and then we'll show where this was on the normal candle chart, so we're not flopping back and forth too much. This was at 10:20, 1:20. Everybody just got back from lunch. So I was watching this. It was coming down. This 10-minute was bought back up, completed auction, nobody on the ask. This one, even better, nobody on the ask, a lot more on the bid. And then my level I was looking at was 55.42, and we'll go see that in a second. So, and there's the prints at 55.42, 118x0. I just marketed it in, and I said, fuck it. On that.
In your head, do you have a threshold for the size of the bids you want to see? It's going to be over 50, 100, or whatever? Or is it just kind of like,
Yeah, it depends, and it depends on the area of the chart it's at. If it's just out in the middle of the open, in the middle of center field, I don't know. I want to see something over 100 probably.
Okay.
But if it's at an area that I like and I saw 59x0, I'd probably like that too. I'd be a little bit more hesitant. I think maybe we got a little bit more room to go, but anything over 100 is really good. And I'll show you a fun one at the end of day that I went long on too, which is always a really bad idea, but I'll show you the print in a second. Anyways, so the area I wanted was, you know what? Let me just do this really fast. This is going to be quicker. Or maybe it's not going to be quicker. Sorry, the screen capture program isn't not the best. Okay, I'm just going to throw up a screenshot anyways. So there's a screenshot, and you could see right after lunch, it came down to that other cake zone I have from 55.37 to 55.42, and that was a print. And that gave me all the confidence in the world just to slap in. And I would have had room to average in a little bit. I know, DACA, yada, yada, yada. But we came down to an area I liked. It was that upper wick demand zone and a cake zone, pretty solid. And that was another solid trade there. And this is just how I'm using the order flow charts with areas of interest that I like to take trades. Now,
would you retake the 27 by 0 on the next 2 candles?
I probably not, because I think there was a large upper wick somewhere.
Just curious about that.
Yeah, and the 2 minute 9 and 20 didn't cross yet. So they were still like messing around on each other, and the 20 was still on top of the 9 at that point. So while I took it the first time, the second time, yeah, I mean, you could look over on the picture I posted, that red 2 minute candle that punched down to make that print was a pretty abrupt candle.
Right, yeah. In your mind, it's like, oh, this is like a CBC flip. Maybe we're not really pushing higher. So
yeah, and you see the 2 minute 9 and 20 didn't flip yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even looking at it at that point, but I wouldn't have taken it because you know, it's that's not an A+ setup for what I'm doing. So now if we go all the way to the end of the day, that push down at I don't know, 4 minutes to close. I was watching that, and here was that print, 1232 by 0 at 55.45, and
Yeah,
that was
that's
4 minutes to
massive.
close. I saw that, and I just slapped in. That's a heavy print right there. That was around 50, wasn't it? I can't tell. No, that was around 55. I think that was the 5 minute algo, close algo, kicking in right there. So that's just another way you could watch order flow and help you decide, you know, what side of the trade you're on, what side of the trade you want to be on. But then likewise, look at the upper print on that 10-minute candle, 0 by 488. This is the dangerous trade. I'll just say that. But I had a lot of confidence, and I had a 2-point stop loss set with the bracket. So at most, I was losing what, $100 on that trade because it was just one contract.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it just went up, and I think the take profit was 3 or 4 points or something like that, and it immediately just hit it, you know, in a second. But you know, obviously, shorting you could use order flow as well, but I'm notoriously bad at shorting, so I didn't even wasn't even looking at that, and I'm trying to get my feet wet on ES again. But yeah, that's just using the footprint charts, which these are just 10-minute candles. If you look over here, you can see this one better. This line right here, you can see this thin blue line starting right here, and then going up to here. That's just your 10-minute candle. And where there's no line on the left-hand side, those are the wicks of the body. That's all this is. And that's just every print at every tick of that 10-minute candle. And the yellow boxes with the lines are just the point of control for every 10-minute candle. So pretty easy, basic stuff. If anybody's interested in this, they do have it for free now in NinjaTrader. So I forgot what it's called. I know a few of the people are running it. You could just have it to the side and just watch the prints where you're interested in taking a trade at. And, you know, like, hey, there's a whole bunch I can easily see. There's a whole bunch of other people interested right here where I'm interested in. It's not just me. I mean, you could see it in Wix as well, but this, like, I mean, this dummies it down so so low that, you know, you could easily see. But that is just that situation right there. I know. Yeah, that's just a little quick thing on order flow and how really well it worked on ES on Friday. It was so easy to trade. But yeah, that's it. Sorry, that was a little bit rambling right there. Anybody have any questions really quick? What do the green and red numbers mean? Oh, yeah, good point. Those are imbalances. Those are bid to ask imbalances where if one is 400% larger than the other, it'll give me a print. And red is on the bid and green is on the ask, obviously. So this just means that where's a good indication? Usually you like to see something like that, like down here, like this 157 print. If that 157 was red, that means that this 272, because bid and ask aren't lateral, they're at an angle. So that's how they work. They don't work. These aren't
Oh
versus
yeah,
each
of course.
other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's at a 45, every one of them. That's how it moves. So like if this 272 was if this 157 was 400% less than 272, then this 157 would be printed red. But there were still a lot of people on the ask right here, but it didn't matter. So that's all they are. Just 400% imbalances between bid and ask. And so when it comes down to a point and you see that, if the bid is red down here, it really helps you take the trade. It gives you more confluence. And if
so you would say red is maybe a sign of weakness for sellers?
No, the red is just yeah, it is. But the red is just which side of the what it is, the bid or the ask. It's
okay.
not really indicating strength. The bid is just red and the ask is green, on
Okay.
time and sales. So you can make them any color you want. But yeah, if this prints, that just means the bid is super strong down here if it highlights it red. And if it highlights the ask up here like that and it's 0 by whatever, 0 by 55 and the 55 is green, that means that sellers are really super strong. So, and in here, this is, whatever. I ignore it if it's in the middle, except for maybe when it comes back down into that area. And you can see how low the volume is right there on that 10-minute candle. So that I might look at that and then see those green imbalances and try to take a long there, but not that often. But sometimes it works. But yeah, that's all those are. And this is almost completely useless on NQ.
So that's kind of where I was going to go next. Like, I appreciate what you're saying here on ES, and it's interesting to me. So I was curious to know how it didn't translate, or why do you think it didn't translate over to NQ?
I've always heard that order flow is a lot tougher on NQ because of liquidity issues, and how fast it moves. And the retraces, the 10-point retraces that NQ does in a matter of a second, nonstop.
Yeah.
I've tried to use it, but it's just not as reliable, really. It's if you want to, if there's a spot on Friday that you want to look at the prints on, we can really quick.
Yeah, I would actually be
go for
curious to know what we're looking at around 10:20 and 11:40.
Let's see. Are we not going to populate because we're over on the
Pacific
weekend?
time, so that'd be 2 p.m. or 1 o'clock.
Is the screen changed to NQ?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. For some reason it's not populating that other one. Okay, you wanted to look at what again?
I was thinking around 1:20 Eastern.
So that is 10.
That's the double bottom. Yeah, 10:20 our time.
Right here.
Because I was noting to myself that was the 9 EMA tap on the weekly.
So this is 10-16, 10-15. Yeah, this is a 10-15 to 10-20 candle.
I can't see anything but a blank screen with a couple of volume bars at the bottom.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, same thing I got.
So I can't even do that. Okay, hold on. Let me do this again. This is interesting that it works this way.
Robbie, you beat me to it. I was going to send a screenshot too.
We good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great.
Everything coming up? Okay. So that's going to be this candle right here. This is a 10-15 to 10-20 10-minute candle. And there's the body, there's the long lower wick. What's scary is they move the POC down here. That means, they really put some volume in down there.
Is that the daily POC or?
No, these are 10-minute POCs. These are
okay.
10-minute.
So it's extended to the right there. So I wasn't sure if that's your drawing or something else.
These are POCs that haven't been ran through by prior 10-minute candles. Like, see, that one's just run through. It's never been interacted, and then
it automatically does that for you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, and then as soon as this printed and this came down, it ended that one, and yeah, MotiveWave is a really advanced program. Not as advanced as Sierra, but this is the shit it's made for.
And is this this in your time or Eastern?
This is California my time. Yeah, so
this would be 1:15, Joe.
Okay, yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah, so this is that 1:15 to 1:20 candle. So this is what she printed down there.
Okay, so I see it's nowhere near the size and spread that you saw in ES, because on yours it was like 100 to 0, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting anything like that.
Yeah, because you're not trading that many contracts on NQ.
So I could see that maybe it might be like if there was a way that they could aggregate a few of those prices into like one to show like a super level. I don't even know if that's like, because I feel like you could use this, but yeah, because the quantity is not large, it doesn't really, it's not as strong. Yeah, it doesn't poke out as much as it does on ES, because we're talking 8x0. That's nothing. But then again, it's like, well, yeah, sometimes these are 10 30 point candles or wicks.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, where's a big reversal? I guess that was low a day, huh?
Yeah, that was low a day, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big reversal. 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 30, or 8. That's going to be... Where was that big first reversal at?
It was at...
8:27. Right here.
11:30, which is 8:30 your time. Yep.
Yeah, so let's see what that printed here. Oh, yeah, see, look at that. That works. You have... Oh, by the way, these are 2 ticks per line here, because it moves so fast. Yeah. So it's 2 ticks.
Is that configurable at all? Because that's kind of what I was thinking. Like if you had multiple ticks per thing.
Yeah, I could. Do you see this? No,
but that's okay. I mean, it's good to know that you can do that. But like knowing that, I might be like, maybe I want 8 ticks or I don't know.
Yeah, you can. Whatever you want, you could say how many ticks you want mashed together.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Can you pop over to let's see, 1140-ish? Like 1140.
But see, this is actually a great print right here, because you have 6 ticks and nothing printed on the ask. It was all just bids. So that's a really solid print right there. And now you can see the imbalances easily, because these are zeros.
Yeah, right.
2, 0, 4, 0, obviously. So you could that's a good indication of how the imbalances work down there too. But yeah, that's actually a great signal for a long right there.
Look at the
in my
next
opinion,
one.
on NQ.
Look at the very next one, 2 by 2 by 1 by 1 by 2. Look at how long that is of single digits on the right.
Yeah, barely. Yeah, not much at all printing until we get way up to 1275.
So I
Yeah.
think it'd be really interesting on NQ to tweak the parameters to say something like, I don't know, 4 or 8 ticks per thing.
Yeah, but if you do that, you're probably going to see what's called completed auctions a lot less, which is 0 on the opposite side of the price.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's fair, but like because we know how spready it is and less volume per tick, but overall greater volume because
Yeah.
it's a big spread. I think you would just have to be like, well, yeah, we're not getting completed, but I mean, obviously we see 20 bids and 3 asks. That says a lot.
Good point. Maybe I'll switch this over to like 4 or something and see what happens. Yeah, we know we're not going to see those zeros, but we're just looking for these massive imbalance numbers.
Yeah,
100% imbalance numbers, I think would be, again, a great target to look at.
Can you pop over to 11:40 our time?
East Coast or West Coast time?
Yeah, California.
Right here. Yeah, 1 by 0, and then I mean 1. Yeah, this is great. A great print too. Look at that, 35. Or yeah, is that 35? Yeah,
35 by 4. Yeah, that's pretty significant. At the bottom anyway too. Because
I mean technically this is 1 by 4 and 35 by 6, but yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, and I guess when I go into my issues later, we'll touch on it more. But like, I took my first short trade of the day, the candle prior, but then afterwards I was like, dude, this looks like it's flipping long, and because I already had that idea of we're at the 9 EMA on the weekly candle, and it was kind of having a double bottomish vibe to me. I flipped long afterward.
And where's that 1222 at? Because this is a pretty harsh rejection at 330. Yeah, that one's a little mixed signal up there. But they're always not going to look great and print something that is a good example. But yeah, this was a good example down here. And shiny, let's see. Yeah, they've been, ES and NQ have been so separated lately that you can't use one for the other. And with tech and semis getting hit so hard lately, they're just moving at different points, at different rates. Oh yeah, Joe said it too. Yeah, same thing. When I first started trading NQ, I actually was doing that because of the liquidity problem with the order flow on NQ. I would have the 20 tick ES order flow charts up, and I got smoked a lot.
There have been times when I have accidentally done that, where I have SPX up and I'm trying to take short NQ or whatever, or QQ or SPY, and I'm like, hey, it's actually kind of working, but I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to change it over on the other chart.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I tried it, and it's not reliable enough to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I might group 4 ticks together and see what that looks like on NQ.
So, and motive wave is.
Hey Joe, really quick, while I'm here, to try to do this really fast. The 10-point algo thing that I've been noticing on NQ.
Oh, hey, before you do that, would you mind just showing me what it looked like, the VWAP interaction at 8 a.m. your time on NQ?
NQ?
Yeah. 8 a.m. your time, the VWAP.
That's got to be this right here, because it's VWAP.
Yep.
Okay. And anybody who is interested in using VWAP on indices, go watch that Fat Cat video I posted. I know it's long. He's long-winded. I think he's funny, but he makes a lot of good points.
So we see that the VPOC is finally interacted with on that candle into VWAP.
What is up?
VWAP there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a lot of good stuff right there. So let's see the print.
Yeah, because that's a POC that's not been taken yet.
Except I'll kind of argue that a couple of candles prior, there was a similar POC that had already been.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the print's not that great. I mean,
no, it's really not.
If that was just there by itself, I probably wouldn't be interested. But the fact that VWAP's there, meh.
I mean, it's 2x40, if you think about it in that way.
Yeah, you're right. If you combined them, yeah, it'd be. Yep. That's pretty strong. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I need to combine them. I think you're
13x64.
Yeah. I think you're onto something there. Yeah. I mean, the VPOC, the POCs, I don't know how much they matter. I don't look at them that much. I mainly like to watch them when we're driving down. Do they keep lowering the POC in every candle? Like if they keep doing that, and then I'm like, oh, okay, we're just driving price down.
So basically, your footprint here is basically kind of like my volume. What's it called? Volume profile indicator for Thinkorswim, because I have it plotted on the daily.
Oh yeah, that's all these are. These are just little volume profile things.
Yeah, so it's a volume profile per candle, which is cool.
Yeah.
I never thought about doing it on intraday. I've been doing it on a daily, basically.
Yeah, and then like the thing you have on TOS on the right-hand side, this is just showing me what's on the screen. So I can, oh, I want to look at the whole day? There, I can look at the whole day. Oh, I just want to look at the past half hour? Oh, just let me look at the past half hour. Bell curve. Fade the highs and lows. So. Yeah, there's the whole day. Something like that. Close enough. Yep. You good, Joe? Or you need to look at something else?
It's motive wave is where you get it, or is it like how does it work exactly? You said it's free now, or?
Oh no, the footprint is free in NinjaTrader now. They
Oh, there's a footprint equivalent.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I know Hutch.
Oh, okay.
Hutch knows it and set it up. It's not plug and play.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because you got to build these out. It's they're called volume imprint. And then you build them out to look a certain way. They don't look like this normally. So.
I see.
Yeah, I learned how to build them out from Bish in the pit.
And so do you have you can export that and share it if somebody was interested?
I'm sure. I don't know how to use Motive Wave as well as TOS, and I really should learn. I should take like a real course on it. But I'm kind of pissed on the wheels of progress on that actually, so it's not smart. But yeah, I'm sure I could import or export all these settings, and it just goes right in.
Look at my TOS chart that I just posted in chat. That's what I do it, but I do it on a daily, on the 30-minute basically.
Oh yeah. I have a TOS whatchamacallit layout that has that exactly that exact chart.
Sweet.
You want to talk about that 10-point thing too?
Yeah. Let me go over that really quick. I know we're long-winded here. I'm sorry. If I just switch over screens, is that fine?
Mm-hmm.
Did it switch over to this tick chart?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's see here. I don't need I don't need any of this shit. Don't need that. So I first started noticing this 10-point move because I was getting caught in trades on NQ. I would see something that I liked and see strength and then get in, and I was getting in apparently on hesitation points or what became areas of consolidation. So like you go along, you'd see strength, I'd get in, and I'd get in in areas, let me see if I could show a good example here. I don't know if I could show a good example here, but I would get in, and then it would start to break higher, and then I would just set my stop to break even, and it just kept almost taking my trade of a 10-point move to take profits, and then come back and tag me out, and then go the way I wanted it to go. It was non-stop. My break-even trades doing that method, it's...
That's going to tie in perfectly with what I'll be talking about later.
It's just crazy the amount of break-even trades I get, and it's I'm putting zero risk on the table on that, because I'm raising my stop loss up immediately, just because I don't want it to wick back on me and rip my face off. But I was like, why am I getting stopped out so much? And then I started looking at areas of consolidation on NQ, and it's like 10-ish points. So we'll look at this area right here. So when you crush it down, you can see the consolidation. Back and forth, back and forth. So roughly, I mean, we have this wick down here, but whatever, something like this. So we're at 90. That's 10 points.
Yeah.
That's 1691 to 1701. 10 points.
And I know it can work like this, but like for instance, on that indicator that I use for toss, the POC should be the same no matter what time frame it is. But for that one, it doesn't really work that way. So what I do is I have it on that 30-minute chart, and then I also have it on my regular trading chart on the 10-minute. And so when I'm marking the POCs for a certain day, I'll mark them both. But if there's a 10-point spread, like 10 to 15 points, that's like really good for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's just Faux Show just said it. Yeah. It really comes back and retests 10 to 12 points nonstop, and it'll go. So there's definitely some sort of 10-point. I think the hedge funds and the high frequency traders are trading 10 points back and forth to one another.
Bro, who doesn't like $200, right?
No, it's great. It's great. But like on ES, it's 2 to 3 points.
Right.
They're going back and forth. And I think on NQ it's 10 points. And so I think just if everybody realizes there's a 10-point high frequency trading situation going on here, it just might help us stay in trades a little longer or something. I don't know. I just wanted to mention it. And I know Joe was talking about coming, the retraces that are just really harsh. But it's definitely noticeable. Oh, and what I was doing, what I noticed it even more, I was getting trapped in trades I would average in on. So I would take a trade, I would average in at $200 more or less. You know what I'm saying? So when my average was whatever, okay, and now I'm negative $200, that's going to be my second average in the trade, which is 10 points. And I could never get out break even. It would never let me come back. And I'm like, okay, there's something to this damn 10-point thing going back and forth.
I would just say and maybe it's different on ES, but on NQ for me anyway, I rarely average down, but if I do, it's really close to where I'm going to get stopped out at, and then with the way my brackets are set up, my stop on the second average is going to be the same as my original, so I'm only losing the delta between where I'd get in and where my stop would be. I'm not creating a full stop profile on that.
Oh yeah, my stop is 25 ticks.
So if it's 25 ticks per con, not average, like, so you would be 25 ticks lower than the new average, basically.
Yeah.
But
the first thing you said, I think, is smart. Do not average in on NQ. ES, I think it's okay, but in queue, man, it's I know Joe trades like that. He just takes the trade, and the stop is the stop, and the amount is the amount.
But I mean, if it's within your, if you have a strategy to say I'm willing to potentially average, but I'm not going to lower my stop, then the risk is still really good because you're not adding too much more. I mean, if you're already close to stopping out, what's that? Another $50 maybe?
I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Versus, your full 25 ticks.
You got to be fast.
Well, yeah, you do. Yeah, and it can happen sometimes, but then it just depends also on what time frame you're looking at too.
Okay, well, I might try that next week and set up some brackets. So it's just all ready to go right away, and I don't have to think about anything.
And maybe just do it on sim,
Yeah. Or imminent queue.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have a little bit of skin in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. That's a good idea. But I'm slowly moving away from NQ anyways. But that's a good idea. I'll try it. Thank you.
Right on.
That's all I had.
Okay. Well, I don't have
Joe,
much.
does that 10-point thing I was talking about kind of make sense now?
Yeah, it does. As I've experienced the same thing too with just like reading the candles, and I spend a lot of time just like literally staring at how 2-minute candles are being formed, and like I'll glance back to the 10 and just like watch, the 2-minute candle be formed again and again and again, and just that's why like that's why yesterday when we had that push up and I saw the 2-minute candle, I was like, whoa. I mean, you probably remember, I was like, whoa, where have I seen this before? This is not good.
Yeah.
Because I just watched the print. Like I just literally watched the candle up, down, the way it feathered, and the way it just kind of like, it just seemed like it was, like it was just like going up and not breaking. It was just like hitting a wall. And of course there wasn't crazy prints, or anything there, but it does kind of move back and forth. I've been trying to like play around with and spend more time testing, like, what if I don't move this stop until this 2-minute candle closes to see, but sometimes I get the inclination that, hey, I'm wrong on this and I'd rather be stopped, and I'm right, like, because I move my stop down, maybe it stops me out for +1 or +2 points, and like whatever, small green is still green, and it goes way past where my stop was, and then I'm like, oh, well, that was good, because instead of losing 6 points, I made 1 point, so it's actually, a 7-point swing on my P&L, which does matter if you're trading Apex and you have to worry about the trailing drawdown. If you're above trailing drawdown, it's different, but
yeah,
or if you're on top step, it's different, but yeah, I do totally get it, man. 100%.
Okay, yeah, and the 2-minute candle is where, like you said, I first noticed that 2 to 3 point algo on ES. Watching the 2-minute candles for 2 years now.
Yep.
And me also getting trapped in trades as well. And I'm like, why can't it get back to my break even? I'm like, there's something I'm doing incorrectly that for it to be happening so often. I'm glad I recognized it. It took a while and it was expensive, but I recognized it. But yeah, the same thing's been happening to me in NQ, and I'm like, here it is again. I know what's going on here. And it's already helped me not get my ass handed to me in NQ a little bit, noticing that. So.
Yeah, it's good. That only comes with screen time, man.
In loss of capital.
Yeah, I wish there was a better way of explaining that to everybody, like in a more succinct, here's what happens, here's how you play it type thing, but I don't have that answer yet.
I think you just gotta watch these damn candles, man, for hours and hours.
There's only so much that can be taught, through video, watching, reading.
And I still mess it up all the time.
Put it into practice.
Oh yeah, me too. Plenty of time.
Yep. Okay, well, I'll get off screen share if you guys have anything.
I just got a few minutes of something here, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on, let me There we go. Hope everybody's still interested. And we haven't bored anybody too much yet.
Basically, all I'm talking about today is just a little bit of backsliding that I've been going through and lack of consistency. Actually, today was yesterday was a little bit of overtrading too. But if you look at this P&L, what we can see right off the bat is that my losers are greater than my winners, although they're consistent. It's very lopsided, right? Reminder to me that I need to fall in love with my base hits, and that's, for me, it's 9 to 10 points. And so you can see specifically right here on these are all
super blurry.
Oh, is it?
Is it just me? Can everybody see a screen okay?
No, it got real blurry.
Yeah, it's like you're on 240.
Maybe Joe, you can share and just post a screenshot that I sent.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. We'll just let Joe share for me.
Okay. I think you just went down to 20.
I've been having some net issues recently. It could be that, but it's just a spreadsheet, so it's no big deal. We'll go through it quick.
Yeah, one second.
GT.
All right, everybody see that now? That's your first. That's the second one.
Do the most recent. Oh, is that it? Okay, it is. Great. Okay, so yeah, so specifically, you can see that my losers are greater than my winners, which obviously is really bad. But Han, where you see everyone that's a winner for cheap, that's a trade that went at least 9 points or greater, which is generally my target. In often cases, some of them went maybe 15 to 20 points, but I would have had to hold through a full 10 point, maybe slightly more retracement before getting that full target. So the point is, I need to be consistent in taking my base hits. I have to fall in love with my base hits, because if you can see there, 5-10 on the day, neat, and I had a couple of great winners, but 9-10 is a hell of a lot better, and those are consistent trades. So the chart on the left is if I didn't hold anything greater than 9 points, just took 9 points every freaking time, that's a $910 day versus a $510 day with maybe what you could argue to be a home run there.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm all about the base hits now. Like,
and
that's
so,
it.
On top of that, another big problem is that you can see I only went short one freaking time. Can you believe that? So I have a significant recency bias, and I don't necessarily want to advocate for fighting the trend, but I because of the way NQ is, if you swing for the base hits, it is easier to do than NQ or than ES, I think. But do as I say, not as I do. I need to work on that, because if on many of these trades, if I was short, there's probably a significantly greater chance that I could have gotten way better than the 9 points. Well, and obviously we saw it, because all day was fading. But yeah, I would not likely have been stopped out, and I probably would have gotten maybe 15, 20 points on a lot more of those trades if I was just short instead of long. Bottom line is, define your base hit, be consistent with it. Don't do as I did. Just take the profit, and until you're scaling, until you're adding size, just take the profit and go. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Just shame on me for doing that.
Dude, on Friday, all I did was take trade by trade, con by con for base hits.
Yeah.
And Friday was one of my chillest, easiest, smoothest days I've traded in so long. And here's my numbers from Friday. Just base hits all day, and then break evens and base hits.
Yep, that's great.
And I walked away, I was like, not just the green day, but just waiting patiently for trades. So patient, and being very aware and quick to take profit and quick to break even when something didn't look like it was going my way.
Yeah.
And not to rag on you too, Han, but there's a little bit of problem with your trades too on Friday. They're all longs.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
oh yeah, no, I already told you I'm horrible at shorting. My blow up days are red trend days. Blow up every time. I cannot trade red trend days.
bro, you got to work on that, man, because they're, you know, we're in this election cycle, and I'm not trying to get all political, you know, this, you know, MAGA this, Bidenomics that. All I'm gonna say though is that, you know, there's a possibility that we could be in a red market for a bit. You know, we could see a lot more down days, especially with this week coming up. Like this week's earnings are going to be incredibly important.
And once Trump starts tweeting again, well, actually, maybe it won't be as different because he's not on X. People repost his stuff on X through Truth Social, but like, I remember when I was first getting into trading, and I was like, freaking heck, man! Every time Trump tweets, like, you know, because it's like something happens. So yeah, we just have to be adapting to what the market is doing, because although we're talking about base hits right now, the trading the trend is going to let us take those home runs on those really sweet days.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's I got to learn to short. I don't know if I can still trade long in these markets. I just have to be much more exact and cutting quicker. But maybe I'll just put the negative in front of all my charts.
See, I mean, I like shorting personally, and I mean, I do. I actually think it might have something to do with, like, I just had this weird epiphany the other day. Actually, it was Friday. And so I was born slightly after that, like, major crash in 87. And so I was like, maybe this is why I like to go short. Like, I don't know, I was laughing, you know, there may or may not have been some gummies involved. But like, I do like to go short. I mean, I like to go long too. I like when this happens long, but I think there's just something so satisfying about being in a short and watching the floor just fall out, and you hear target filled. Like, it doesn't. Yeah. There's sometimes where there's crazy pushes like that, and we've seen those over the last few weeks where you can go long and it's like, boom, target filled, like the same thing, and it's very satisfying.
The backside on NQ is crazy when it on the short, just crazy.
I will say it seems like I don't really have this like really plotted out, but like in my head it seems like my success fighting the trend, going long versus shorting the trend, seems to be better. That's all I got.
Hey, thanks, Robbie. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna share this from Saul. He said this helps his bias. Backtest this. Short if the 10-minute EMA is below the 200. Long if the 10-minute 50 EMA is above the 200. So long, short, 10-minute 50, 10-minute 200. Right.
That's kind of like Dr. Bullshark's VWAP and 200.
Oh yeah. Oh, that flashback. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna screen capture that and save it.
Yeah, so oh, this is supposed to be clear. Hold on. Clear this drawing set. All right, so this would be the 50 right here. It's this top of this line. So yeah, I mean, everything is short. The 50 is below 200. The 50 is below the 200. The 50 is below the 200. And the 50 is below the 200, but I mean, it was above here that you get this big knife drop. But on the knife drop pullback, that's when the 50 crossed below 200. This is fantastic right here. Great trade setups. this 50 is above, because this would be the 50 right here, the bottom of this blue, above the 200. Lots of great long opportunities through here, right? Yeah, and then it comes back. If you in here you have some chopping, and maybe that's a little bit of no man's land, just scalping or whatever. Here you go. 50's under the 200, but it pops up. You finally get the 50 over the 200 here, but at that point you're so far extended on the day, maybe a little bit of an anomaly day. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you want to look at the day prior. So this I'm sure would be something else you want to consider. Most recent price action here. You're getting into the 61 fib or a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry. I should go to the session high. So yeah, you're in the golden zone of the high to low of the previous day. So no wonder why that wouldn't work. But here, look, the 50 turns under the 200, all shorting all day. 50's above the 200, all longs. And this one, yeah, 50's above the 200, but get a little choppy in through here. What day was that? The 9th? Yeah, man, Saul, this was great.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like shit.
No, the day before that is even more shit. Yeah.
Yeah, the 8th. Oh
God.
god, that's just like total range bound, right? But you know what though? Again, like I was pounding the desk yesterday on like what 10-minute CPC was still short. The 10-minute CPC flipped long, and I remember this because even though it kept pushing down, they couldn't flip it short. And so when they couldn't flip it short, I remember this being like, man, all these wicks under the orb was pretty great. But yeah, here's your 50 above the 200. Another great long day. Saul, thank you very much for this. This was, dude, Saul Goodman, ladies and gentlemen. He types 2 sentences and has a major impact on the whole session.
Do I have the 50 on my chart on my 10-minute? I have the 200.
Yeah, I have it right. Yeah. This is great. This is great.
I'm gonna add it. Yeah, I'm
This
adding
is
it right
great.
now. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much, Saul. Fantastic. Just countless examples.
Yeah, for sure.
Now the hard question: what color do I make it? I'm joking.
Mine's red.
Mine's blue. All right. Hey, I gotta wrap it up here though. Yeah, I like blue also. So
I gotta go, gang. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
me too.
I appreciate you guys for chiming in and all the
Yeah, of
insights
course.
today.
Hopefully
I'll
that
get
helps.
this posted up to YouTube quick.
Yeah, hopefully my stuff helped with anybody out there. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to me, and I'll do the best I can to answer and give any advice if you'd like. So that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you,
Later,
hon.
guys.
See you guys later.